Greetings, this is Gray Paladin, and I'm going to begin the install of my Korbanth Sid 2.0. As you can see, I have everything set up, all my supplies, and I'm about ready to dig in here. Going with the 30 gauge wire, the hilt all apart, my neopixel connector, tactile switches, Trust Fire lithium ion battery, Goth 3D chassis, speaker, recharge port, and of course all of my tools that I'll need for the job, including heat shrink, helping hands, and hobby vise. This is going to get a Nano Biscotte V4, mainly because this Sid will not be used for dueling or anything like that. It will primarily be a shelf queen, therefore I don't need all the advanced features of a CFX or anything like that. Alright, we'll begin and I'll cut back with some more detailed work. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is just pre-tin all the pads that I'm going to use on the Nano Biscotte V4 soundboard.
I think I could do a little bit better on those. There we go.
All right. Good. All right. And on to the next step. Now I'm going to wire the positive terminal, positive pad for the battery. That'll do it. So positive and negative power pads are soldered, and that looks good. Okay, next step. Now I'm going to solder up the negative lines for the neopixel connector. So there's the negative for the neopixel connector. Next up is the activation switch. All right. Now I will solder on the speaker switches. I'm utilizing orange for my positive and yellow for the negative. There we go. Okay. Well, that wasn't very clean. Hold on. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, it's the more you do this stuff, the easier and the better it gets, because all of these joints look really solid compared to when I did my Vanquish. So this is moving along pretty well. Last one to put onto the board is going to be the data line for the neopixel. And I'm using green for that. Trying to get a little smarter. Last time I had soldered the components first and then tried to attach to the board, and as a result I didn't have all the wires going the way that I wanted to, and it wasn't a very clean job. So now I'm taking a step of soldering it to the board first with extra length in the wire, and then from there attach it to the components and then cut to fit. So that way it's a much cleaner job when it goes into the chassis. Alright, so there's the data line for the neopixel connector. So good, I got everything soldered onto the board with plenty length of wire coming off, and then from there I can just now start soldering and attaching to the actual components. I've got the positive negative batteries there, positive negative pads, then the LED strip in the blue, the purple I'm utilizing for the activation switch, the orange and yellow will be for the speaker, and the green is the data line. Okay, so from here I'll start soldering onto the components. Alright, time to pre-tin my PCB connector. Well, not great, but got it in there. Still kind of trying to get better at this whole soldering thing. Okay, now I'm going to connect my positives. Good. Now we'll need to fuse those together and then lead that to the one positive going into the battery. The green data, I think I'll wait until I'm ready to insert it through the chassis, but the negatives, I'll do those next. Now time for the negatives. Let me just check it out. Yep, that's on there good. Okay. So, 2 positives, 2 negatives. Data line will come later. Alright, so I fast forwarded my work here and I just did a real basic kind of setup of connecting things together. So I've got the battery, the recharge port, the side tactile switch for the Sid, and the speaker right here. So did check the recharge port and the kill key does work, so I'll demonstrate that now. Great, so we got boot up sound, and this is my first time wiring a tactile switch. I wasn't really sure what was what, but first time wiring it, and then I believe it worked. So there we go. So now I know I've got everything hooked up correctly, so it's just a matter at this point of getting it set to be able to fit into the chassis, which is rather small, finagling all those wires. But that's just the sound check. It's not the actual neopixel yet, so I need to do a test on that one next. Next thing is to test the blade. So I made this neopixel blade 7/8 in a previous video, and I went in and I changed the override .text file to accommodate the LED strip. So here's my test on the blade to see that the neopixel works. I know the wires and everything are all shoddy, so that's a good sign that I got sound effect there. But we're in test mode, so granted there's no hilt, it's just all wires. Alright, cool. So, I do have neopixel blade is working. Awesome. Alright, so with that being done, sound works, blade works, so it's just a matter of now just cleaning up all these wires and getting them installed onto the chassis and then place it in the hilt. This is great. Install number 2 well on its way.